When someone tells me, hey, I grew up around guns, I know what I'm doing. I immediately know they're probably making one of these 3 big mistakes. Hey, my name's Caleb Lee, and if you don't know me yet, I'm the #1 best-selling author of Concealed Carry 101, and I'm also the founder of Patriot Training Center, where we've trained hundreds of students how to use pistols, rifles, and shotguns to defend themselves and other innocent life. And this topic is very near and dear to my heart because myself, I grew up around guns, and I was making all of these mistakes myself, so this is very important to me, and it's a very common situation that we see all the time at Patriot Training Center. So the first thing that I think most people that grew up around guns don't really conceptualize or really get is that you have to have a defensive mindset, and that's the type of training that sets us apart from just growing up with guns and using them recreationally. Like myself, pretty much every year when we were younger, me and my family would go on camping trips and we would shoot guns, and it was really just plinking. So we would put up bottles or we put up targets out in the woods and we would shoot them, and it was all a whole lot of fun. But there were really no ideas about why we were doing what we were doing, and we weren't training for a purpose. So really, conceptualizing that defensive training is completely different than recreational training. So for example, the whole reason that you might have a gun for home defense or carry a gun for concealed carry is because you may have to shoot somebody. You may have to shoot somebody because they're trying to kill you or some other innocent party that you're responsible for. And you need to be prepared and willing to defend yourself or that innocent life with that gun. So that's an entire mindset shift that gets missed when you kind of grew up around guns and they're really just a recreational toy or something fun that you do instead of like a tool that can be used in a defensive manner. And really, a whole lot of this is when you accept that mindset is you realize that learning how to use your gun in a defensive manner comes down to a whole lot of other things that aren't really gun skills, like being situationally aware, being aware of where you're at, the color codes of awareness, making sure that you're staying away from dangerous things, and just paying attention and having that defensive mindset is a level that most recreational shooters don't even think about. The second thing that I realized with myself and most of the people that grew up around guns is we have a very, very poor concept of what actual safe gun handling is. Now, the important thing here is there are 4 fundamental rules of firearm safety that if you follow them, they're redundant and they work extremely well to keep you from having a bad accident with a handgun where you could hurt somebody or you could hurt yourself. And they work extremely well if you follow them. And the 2 primary problems that I see with most people that grew up around guns is they have very, very poor muzzle control, muzzle discipline, and finger control. The muzzle is pointing at things that it should not be pointing at. You should only point your muzzle of your gun at something that you've already made the decision consciously that you're about to shoot. And your trigger finger. Your trigger finger should always be high and tight, away from the trigger, in register, straight, and not on the trigger unless, again, you've consciously made the decision to shoot and you're ready to shoot the gun. Those 2 things get completely ignored because when we grow up around guns, you know, our family member just says, hey, here's a gun and here's how to use it. And it kind of goes like that. There's not a whole lot of these safety rules that are drilled in to you at a young age so that they become habitual, so that they become subconscious and that you always follow them. And the reason why that's important is because these are not just important when you go out to shoot the gun, as you would if you were going out and you were just using it for fun, plinking or whatever else. These are rules that you have to follow all the time, because if you own a gun for self-defense or you own it for home defense or concealed carry, whatever it is, then you're going to be administratively handling that gun way more than you're ever going to be shooting it. You're going to be taking the gun in and out of the safe. You're going to be unloading it. You're going to be cleaning it. You're going to be putting it into your holster. You're going to be loading it up. All those times that you're touching a gun, every single time that you're touching a gun, you have to have a subconscious level of safety that's protecting yourself and all the innocent people around you, which are the whole reason that you got the gun in the first place. And the third big thing I see with most people that grew up around guns is they don't really have a whole idea or a concept of what real defensive skill looks like. So they think they're doing pretty okay. And there's really no way to really know if you're doing okay unless you have some objective standard that you're measuring yourself against. And you really know what those skills are that you're doing okay at. So you have to identify what are the important skills, what are the skills that I need to be able to defend myself, to be able to defend my family, other innocent life. And you have to actually practice those skills. You have to learn them first, then you have to practice them to get to a high level of proficiency to where they become automatic. Subconsciously, you can perform these skills without having to think about it. Because in a violent confrontation in a self-defense scenario, there's not a whole lot of room for you to be thinking about how to manipulate your handgun, how to point it, how to make sure that you're getting the proper aim. Everything should be happening automatically, and it should just happen at a subconscious level so that your brain can be occupied with the situation that's unfolding in front of you. You have lots of innocent people that do not need to be shot. There's probably 1 violent person or 2 violent people that maybe need to be shot. So you need to be able to free up that mental space to be able to take care of the situation and do the thing that needs to be done without worrying about how to use your gun and use it effectively. And so those defensive skills that are very important is getting the gun out of the holster, getting on target, getting that first shot very quickly, and then being able to put as many rounds into the target accurately as need be to get the job done. And if all you've ever done is plink and shot at targets or shot at bottles or what have you, whatever you've done for fun, then there's really no way that you have a good idea of what those skills are and how you can get better at them. And so the best way, if you've already grown up around guns and you have some of these safety rules figured out and you're trying to make them automatic and subconscious, the best way to do that and the best way to learn these important fundamental skills that you need to do with a handgun is to do dry fire. So you can do dry fire at home. You don't have to go to the range, waste time or ammo. You use an unloaded gun and you can practice everything, pretty much everything that you need to do with a handgun by yourself at home. We have a free dry fire program down in the description below. It only takes 10 minutes a day, and in less than 30 days, it's a complete 30-day program. You'll be able to build those skills to a subconscious level of automaticity so that you don't have to think about them. They happen automatically, and you'll be building the skills that are able to protect you and your family. So check out the link in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.